Well, hello, everybody. Hello. It is Talk to Me Thursday. And you guys, I had even actually dropped in the feed if you had something to talk about on Talk to Me Thursday. So I do this sporadically, but I feel that it's important that I start coming in more so I can help you get to your 2020 goals. So 2021 will be like no other. So as you see, I have another powerhouse in the house with me. I'm too excited. But before I introduce her to the show, and you guys can hear more about her, and then we'll sit back and enjoy ourselves, let me do a little housekeeping. So, first and foremost, my name is Pamela Stone. As you see below, I am your host. And this is What's Next podcast for women. This is where we come in here, we help you conquer your what ifs and I can'ts so you can go after your what's next. And your what's next can be moving up the corporate ladder, or those of you who are wanting to seek entrepreneurship and getting support. If you have any questions as we go through tonight, we love questions, we love hearts, we love thumbs up, we love it all. So drop it in the feed below. We will definitely get with you. If you have any questions after the show, note that I will pass it on to my co-host, and she will definitely get to those. I assure you of that. And then lastly, you guys, I actually have three actually I have three sponsors for tonight's show. And so we're going to break them up a little bit tonight. So first and foremost, the first half of the show is sponsored by Hurt and Poet LLC. It is ran by the CEO of Elisa Hurt. She is the amazing content manager writer. She can flex your voice through her content writing. So those business owners who are looking for someone to write, to do some writing for them, for their content, or may it be some copywriting, or if you need help with your website, Elisa Hurt is your go-to woman. I will drop it in the feed below. If she drops in here, I'll make sure you have her contact information. She is awesome and great. So everybody grab your pen and paper, your evening beverage. Look, I already drank mine. Evening beverage and snack. Your friends and family and girlfriends, sit back and enjoy the show, because again, my co-host here we'll have some more nuggets for you guys to drop. So I think that's it for the quickness. Well, first and foremost, Anna, thank you for joining us here on the podcast. And how have you been doing?
I'm good. As good as you can be in 2020, right? We're
Right.
surviving. We're figuring it out.
Right. We're figuring it out. Figuring it out. And so far, so good, right?
Right.
That's good. So tell our guests all about you and what you do.
Sure. So my name is Anne Brady. I am a social worker here in Columbus, Ohio. I have a small private practice where I provide therapy to folks coming in for things like trauma or anxiety. Those are kind of my wheelhouse. I also offer some workshops coming up, some for other therapists and counselors, and others that are just for the community, for anyone who needs them. They focus a lot on wellness and on how we can really take better care of ourselves. We talk a lot about self-care, and I think our conversations miss the mark. And so my mission is to change that.
Oh, I love it. Love it, love it. So let's get jumping into it. And let's talk about a little bit about self-care, especially with COVID going on. We really need to focus on the self-care. We as women, I said this last night, we as women, we're so consumed with everything that's going on around us and everyone else's emotions that we forget about our self-care. So with that being said, what are some things that you do or help with clients that come to you?
So I really like to start just reframing that word, because I think we talk about it and there's, hashtag self-care Sunday, on Instagram and that kind of stuff. And
Right.
I think what we talk about so often is I got my nails done, or I did a face mask, or I went to yoga, or I took a bubble bath. And all those things are great. They are beautiful. If you've got time and you've got resources to do those, do them. And you enjoy them.
Yeah.
But I think what we miss is the day-to-day stuff, right? How am I taking care of my body every day? How am I taking care of my emotions every day? The things that we can't necessarily schedule in We talk about
Mhm.
self-care as a thing that you start and stop. Like, I'm going to do self-care from 7:30 to 9 on a Tuesday night.
Right.
Really, the more that you can frame it as just a way of living and that you move through your day with care for yourself, gets you so much further in terms of real and concrete wellness.
So, with that being said, with the women that come into office, well, let's just talk about the women in corporate, because I'm a woman in corporate, so I'm gonna be a little selfish here, and I'm sorry. So, with the women in corporate here, how do they fit this all in? They're working in the corporate world. They're also dealing with the COVID, and they're also dealing, with the children at home right now, and to those go back into to the classroom. So, how do you fit this all in, and how do you make it part of the norm? So how do they do that?
Yeah, whew, that's a lot, right? And that's why I love talking about it as how you just move through your day rather than things like, oh, I got to work in time to figure out a yoga class or to, you know what I mean, go work out for 5 hours a week or whatever.
Right,
Those things are great, do them. But on those days where you don't have time for that because you are working in corporate and you've got a passion project and you've got some kids at home and you've got a dog who needs a walk and a lawn who needs mowed and
right. And just go over and on and on and on. And you're by this time, okay, then I'm coming to you for anxiety because now I'm overwhelmed with everything else.
I know I
And
get a little anxious just talking about it, right?
right, me too. Oh my goodness. I feel it already up here. Oh my goodness. So what do you suggest for women like that? Let's talk about the women that are in the corporate world because there's a lot for them going on. So how would you suggest, or what do you suggest for them?
So the number one most concrete and basic thing that I encourage people to do, especially when you are 90 miles an hour all the time, is to make it a point twice a day to just ask yourself, how am I and what do I need?
Oh, I love that. I
It's
love
so,
that.
it's so simple, right? It doesn't take you any extra time. It's no extra money. But what I find is that especially women are worse about this. And,
Yes.
from what I've seen, it's a blanket statement, but women, especially people who are healers, like nurses, doctors, people who are teachers, and people who are
Mhm.
absolute worst offenders in terms of taking care of themselves.
So true.
And we're so bad at it because we have to disconnect from our own needs.
Hmm.
Once we do that a little bit, we just kind of keep going, and that becomes the norm and the way of life. And so just connecting back in and asking yourself, I even have people put it in their phone as an alarm to go
Oh,
off twice
okay.
a day. And all you do is say, how do I feel and what do I need? And just taking time to meet those needs, because how many days have you had where you're like, I've been thirsty for 2.5 hours, or I've had to pee for half
Right.
a day, and they just keep putting it off and getting busy and, doing all this other stuff. Just taking a moment to go, you know what? I need to grab a sweater because I'm chilly and I need a glass of water. And I have to go to the bathroom.
Right. So
Or, you know,
true.
I'm overwhelmed. I just need a deep breath. Or I need to go take a 10-minute walk and
Yes.
re-energize, right? Like just move that energy around a little bit.
So true.
Simple things are so much easier to fold into your day and into your routine than some of the more cumbersome ones.
Right. That is so I agree with you. That you said take a deep breath. I again I'm in the corporate world and I'm doing my business and all this. And you're talking about when you said talk about get up to go for a walk. I'm like, hmm, where am I going to fit time in for that? Literally, where am I going to fit the time in to even just get up to even think about getting up and going after that sweater, getting up to move around a little bit. And I understand that's time. This is time for all of us to be conscious and aware of what we're doing. So with that being said, how do you circle it back around and bring it back together and everything else again, because I'm still feeling anxiety. I promise you I'm still feeling the anxiety. So what do you suggest?
Well, I think part of it is boundaries, and part of it is challenging some of those beliefs,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It's so easy to say, I don't have time. I don't even have time to get up and grab a sweater.
Yes.
You got 3 minutes, right?
Love it.
You can find 3 minutes, and those 3 minutes to get up and make yourself a tea or grab a sweater or whatever it is that you need, just to tell yourself, hey, I see you, and I'm taking care of you,
Yes.
spend 3 minutes on that and you're going to get so much more done than if you stay disconnected all day.
So true.
Right.
Real quick, we have a hi there from Elisa. Elisa, real quick, if you can drop your information on how someone can get connected with you on content writing, I would love for you to drop it in the feed. And then, hello, Kevin. Thank you for joining. It's been a minute since I've seen you. Hope all is well with you, but thank you for joining us. So, with that being said, let's move in a little bit now to those who were in the corporate world, and sadly enough they've been displaced from the corporate world, and so now they have the anxiety of, okay, now I have to think of a job, or I have to. And so what do you suggest for for that entity of group of people, individuals? What do you suggest for them?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think when you are really in a crisis mode, you can just go all over the place.
Yes.
You're thinking, gosh, now I don't have a job and I have to find a job. And also I have to take care of these kids. And how am I supposed to find a job or go on a job interview when I have 3 kids at home?
Right.
Feed the kids if I don't go on the job interview.
Right.
Kind of spiral. Sometimes to shorten that time horizon and think about, what do I need right now? In this next 5 minutes, me having a job or not having a job doesn't make an impact for
Okay.
the 5-minute period.
Okay. I love that. I love that tip. I love that.
Yeah. Shorten that time horizon. Like if the next year feels overwhelming, if the next month, if the next week, if the next day, if the next hour, just keep shortening up until you're like, okay, right now I have one breath. Take it in, take it out. And I'm okay. Right now there's a roof over my head. Right now we're fed. Right now, my next step is to send out an email, or my next step. Like once you get grounded,
Yes.
then you can, with your feet on the ground, then you can decide what that next step is. Otherwise you're kind of like tumbling down a hill.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's hard to get.
Yes. Yes. And let's address that in the same arena with the entrepreneurs, because Elisa and Kevin, they are entrepreneurs. What do you suggest for them to help them how do they get some self-care in?
Yeah. The other huge thing, and this is true for folks in corporate too, is boundaries. Is that you have to decide. It is so easy as an entrepreneur, especially while we're all at home, to just work constantly.
So true.
Right? To just always be, scrolling through some emails while you're spending time with family, and, to just always be in it. And so setting some boundaries, having some time that is precious, that is protected, that is away from work. Right? It allows you to show up more fully in the time that you do give it.
Okay.
Right. And it's true for both, both your home life and your work life.
Yes.
There's boundaries around them, which are super hard to come by right now.
Right. Who are you telling? We have so much going, COVID, and like I said, and then you have the kids that are home, and it's just a lot going on. So I love these tips, and I hope those of you are listening to us, if you have any questions, again, drop them in the feed. We'll be here still for a while. So if you have any questions for Anna or myself or both of us, drop them in the feed below. We definitely are all about addressing and helping, because again, we're here to help you. So your 2020, look, I was going to say something different. Your 2020 will be like no other. So 2021, you can be equipped and ready to go. So with that being said, let's talk a little bit. You're doing some workshops, right, for the public. So what are some of the workshops that you're doing?
Yeah, so I have one workshop I have a series of 4. The first one is an overview.
Okay.
Creating wellness, and we talk about how to reframe self-care a little bit, kind of like we did here tonight already. And then we talk about the 3 main components to wellness that I've found. These are things that, I've been a therapist for about 13 years, and I have seen this across the board in so many people, especially women.
Yeah.
That these 3 components, these 3 areas, are things that we're not addressing. And it's almost always the first step that I have to take with folks who come into my office.
Oh, wow.
These 3 things.
Okay.
kind of
So
settle.
when are those when is one of the workshops be available, or are they, or how can people, let's stop for the moment, and where can people find you and connect with you, and two, are any of the workshops coming up soon, and if so, when and where as well?
Yes, so they are coming up here in the next few weeks throughout kind of end of October and into November
Perfect.
on every other week. And each of the ones coming up are a deep dive into one of the components
Okay.
about. So there's one on self connection, one on setting boundaries, and one on shifting your self talk.
Okay.
And you can find all that information on my website,
Okay. And that is?
which is Anne Brady, LISWS.com.
Okay.
Or you can also follow me on Instagram, which is the same. It's Anne Brady, LISWS.
And I will definitely drop this in the feed below. But you know what? One topic, I love all your topics that you're talking about, but I really love the self talk.
Mm-hmm.
With that is powerful because let's be honest, we all can talk ourselves out of something just
Oh,
like that quickly. So I'm glad that you're going to talk on and teach on self-talk. And so one way we can empower ourselves is to do the positive self-talk. You know, we always using that negative self-talk that then leads us to going down the, talking us out, and we're facing the 3 F's, as I always talk about, which is fear, fault, and failure. It's just a snowball effect. So with the self-talk, can you talk a little bit about what you cover in there and covering that in that component?
yeah. So we talk a lot about how important it is. You know, I'm sure you and your listeners know that already. It's actually the basis of a lot of therapy is shifting how we talk to ourselves,
Mm,
mean to ourselves.
yeah,
Like, we are cruel. We say all sorts of things in our own heads that we would never say out loud to someone that we cared about.
so
And
true.
we wouldn't have people in our life who said those to us out loud either.
Yeah, that's true. That
Think
is,
about if every time you made a mistake, you had a partner or a friend who, said that you were stupid or how could you make the mistake again or you're never going to figure this out. You don't want to be around that person.
yeah, that's
Right?
so true. I like that. That is so good. So you guys, I hope you're listening, and also I will drop it in the feed on how you can stay connected and how you can find out more about Anne's workshops. I think they are so essential, especially nowadays. You know, we have so much going, as I said, and I still say it, we have so much going on in our lives. And then we have the political side going on. So it's just, we're compounded over top of compounded on top of compounded of so much going on here. So what way to do it is start peeling back and start doing some positive self-talking to ourselves, as well as doing more work. You know, we need to do some more work. And I brought Anne on here because I want you to do, as I said before last week, I'm bringing women, powerhouse women on here to help you, as they're helping me, to get us prepared for 2021. And one way is, I totally believe in, first and foremost, doing some mind shifting mindset work. And it's so important to do that. And and I don't know if those of you tuned in, which definitely I will be definitely start implementing into my life, is the 2 questions that you talked about. I love those 2 questions. So I will definitely drop them in the feed what those 2 questions are, and to implement them in my day. I love to doing that, implement them. That's so great. I love that.
It sounds so simple and easy, and it will make such a huge difference, right?
Absolutely.
Send a message to yourself either way. Whether you have a need and you ignore it and shove it down, or you have a need and you meet it, you're telling yourself something.
Right. So true. Hello. Oh, hello, Andrea. Thank you for joining us. She says, hello, ladies.
Hello.
so So with that, also, let's do a little shifting. So now we've done we've implemented the self-awareness or the self-care to ourselves. And we started doing some wellness, which you had talked about earlier, where we gonna start implementing that into our day-to-day lives, getting up, which I totally agree with you. And so I already have written down my notes on things that I need to do to implement and start implementing into my day, and to be more aware and conscious of what I'm doing With that being said, so what are some fun things I can do, to make it more exciting, to remind me, I'm more, if I see it, feel it, and have fun with it, I'm more likely to be successful. Is there any tips on something fun I can do to make sure I get to that point?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, self-care should be fun.
I know.
That's the thing that drives me the most crazy is that the way that we talk about it creates a bunch of shame and guilt and extra stress of like, gosh, that's one more thing I got to do.
Yeah,
Stuff that makes you feel good,
I
right?
love it.
Like
Yeah.
something that is fun and joyful and makes you feel good. And so I think anytime you put something that you do enjoy into your life, that is a form of self care, right? Anytime you said, what do I feel like? And maybe it's a dance party. That's probably my number one prescription for most people. you know, the number one recommendation of how to just stop what you're doing, shift your energy, turn your day around is just play a song, have a little dance party. No one has to be there,
Ooh,
no one has to see.
that's true. No judgment. Oh, I like that.
No, think about, and it's one song, right?
Yeah.
It's not like you need a 3 hour, meditation session or I mean, again, those things are great. If you love doing them, do them.
Right,
But
right, right.
for us busy folks, like, you know, 3 minute song.
Oh,
Sometimes,
I love that.
yeah, I love that. I usually stack my days and only have, maybe 7 or 8 minutes between clients. Right. And so
Yes.
then it's like, what do I need?
Yeah.
I'm feeling heavy or I'm tired or it's the end of the day. Let me get up and put on a song that I know.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that. Well, let me ask you this. So, what do you do for self care?
Yeah. I, gosh, that's one of them. Probably dance party is the top.
Love it.
But it also is, part of it is just things like knowing what kind of foods make me feel good
Mm,
and making sure I take time to do that. Making sure I have a lunch break every day.
mm-hmm.
So many people, especially in a helping profession like social work, who just work, 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 and they're like, I'll figure out lunch at some point, and they have a dusty old granola bar at 3 o'clock or something. And so making sure that you eat and making sure that I drink, right, that I have enough water throughout the day. Even if that means I start my session a minute or two late,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, because it's important that I take care of myself so that I can stay present.
Absolutely.
I also set a lot of boundaries in terms of how many people I see and when I see them.
I love it. I love that you talk about setting boundaries. That's a little hard. That's really hard to do, is setting boundaries. Before we go into the break here, real quick. Oh, Andrea says music is a great stress relief. Yeah,
Absolutely.
it is. It is. Especially the cold weather is getting ready to set in, so we're really gonna have to figure something else.
Yeah.
Figure out something soon.
Yeah. When do you not have music with you? When do you not have a phone or a computer?
True. That's true.
Right.
So
It's
proof, so perfect, so perfect. So before she goes, I'm just beginning to make sure I have a lunch break daily. That's one I want you to talk about,
yeah.
because we as entrepreneurs, we don't. Let's be honest. We're, like you said earlier in the conversation, we talk about work, 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 work. So how did you come up with, one, how did you come up with determining for a lunch break? Two, how long do you take for your lunch break? And what do you do for your lunch break?
Yeah. So for me, this really started in my corporate days, right?
Right.
I was working on kind of somebody else's schedule and it was all drive to see as many clients as possible and keep numbers up and that. Um, it was bad. It was like I'm gonna stop at a gas station and
Hmm.
get some combos or something and call that lunch. Um, and I also, as my career progressed, I had a team under me, a team of therapists that I was supervising. And I would, the moment I hired somebody new on their first day, I would tell them that. I would say, I need you to eat lunch every day. And they looked at me like I
Nice.
was crazy. And I said, no, no, I see the look you're giving me. You have my permission, and I am requesting that you eat lunch every single day. And they all did a much better job with it than I did. Thing. And I think it's just so important because it's again one of those messages that we send to ourselves
Exactly.
is like, oh no, just shove that hunger down, pretend it's not happening, and, have some sugar or some caffeine or whatever later to kind of help through.
Right.
And I know that I don't feel good when I do that. And so I give myself, and part of the reason I always have at least an hour, and part of that is just because my days are hour, like I have meetings on the hour.
I understand.
So I don't really start things at like 12:30. But I always have at least an hour, and sometimes I build in just a longer one to do some of my administrative tasks for my business. And it's nice just to have a little bit of a longer break.
Yeah. So true. So true. So as you had talked about you were working in the corporate world. Now you're into your own private practice. So one, how did it feel when you crossed over from the corporate world into being an entrepreneur? How did that feel? And what prepared you for that?
Whew, it felt everything. It felt terrifying and exhilarating and fun and scary and overwhelming, and a little bit unreal. I always kind of thought that would be my retirement plan. And then I did it much earlier than I thought. So we're kind of figuring it out as we go. But yeah, it was really great. And the thing I think that helped me the most is there are some folks who are helping kind of coach, right? So
Mm-hmm.
in between step that I was able to take to go into a group practice with women who had set up their business already. And so they were able to offer a little bit of support and some kind of coaching to help me figure things out. But that and just networking, just talking to people, getting to know other people who had done it, and realizing like, hey, this is possible. This is doable. There's no reason why I can't do this.
Do it. I so agree with you. Like I tell you, the other side is I can't wait to move to that other side because it's really tough to balance them both. So
Yeah.
once the moving over, I say I those, but there is a lot of women I wanted to address it because there is a lot of women that are sitting in a corporate desk and they're sitting there saying I can't. There's a lot of women there saying, what if? And I want you all to know that you can. And the best way to do it is to start. I have so many women that I've come across, especially in the corporate world, always asking me, well, how did you do it? And I'm like, just did it. But I have to say, I'm like you, Anne, the support system, because if you don't have a strong support system, you're fighting uphill battle by yourself. Versus if you can get some behind you that's supporting you and cheerleading you on, you're ahead of the game and you're on the mark to a success and stress free, as much stress free as it can be, living. So I totally agree with you. And I will say this as well: anybody that's sitting in a corporate job that is wanting to go after their what's next, start preparing yourself mentally. Because again, the thing that is one change that is, and I know that I can say that I'm adapted to, is knowing that entity of group of people, even though we're at home, I can still call them or text them. They will no longer be there. And so, you have to create a new tribe that you can call on, text on. So that's one recommendation that I would recommend anybody that's thinking about leaving the corporate world, but is a little hesitant on it. And you're like, well, what do I do? Start doing your networking, start finding the people. And we talked about this last night, finding the people that you want to sit at your table. And the table is those people that are going to motivate you, that are going to drive you, and that is going to help you achieve the goals that you want. So that is so important there. Anything else you'd like to add into that?
Yeah. I think finding people who are doing what you want to do.
Mm-hmm. So true.
Most entrepreneurs love what they do.
Oh my goodness, so true.
Oh, they're just a regular person. It seems like this like pie in the sky thing.
Yeah.
These certain people can do, and we're just people.
Yeah. So true. And and the funny thing is we're willing to help. That is the amazing, phenomenal thing, that we're willing to help. If you come to us, we're all about helping you to achieve and be successful in the goals that you're going after.
And there's one other thing that I think was super helpful in kind of pushing me to take that leap. And someone had asked me, well, why not now? Right.
Yes.
Like I said, this was a, end of my career kind of plan.
Uh-huh.
And somebody asked me, well, why not now? And I didn't have an answer that wasn't rooted in fear.
Yeah. I
That
know.
fears, I had plenty of what ifs and all of that, but that was all I had to argue against it. And
Yeah.
I can't answer the question.
I'm with you.
Might as well move forward.
I have several of my cheerleaders, and they ask me all the time, what's
Mm-hmm.
stopping you?
Yeah.
And, so that is such a good question. Well, we're going to take a break here, and what we do here at this point in time, I would like to give the second half of the show is sponsored by At the Table. At the Table is a nonprofit organization here located in Columbus, Ohio. They are having their third annual Women Empowerment Luncheon. Yes, luncheon, but it's going to be online. It'll be virtual. How exciting! And their luncheon is all about it is celebrating women who has gone through cancer or are going through cancer. And the way they celebrate these women, they celebrate them with and doing some empowerment as well as having an amazing fashion show. So if you're interested in purchasing a ticket, I'll drop it in the feed on how you can get a ticket. If you would like to not only get a ticket, oh, hello, Sanita. Yes, at hashtag at the table. If you would like to become, you can still be a vendor. What perfect way to be a vendor to come in contact with some empowering women. Last year, we had over 200 women that came to the event, and we're expecting double. So what way to come out, or not come out, but what way to connect with women and doing and getting your product or your services out is becoming a vendor. Now, if you're saying, well, a vendor is not my thing, you still have the opportunity to do the swag bags. Swag bags, you can put your business card into the swag bags and still get your business crossing hands with women across the world. So I will drop it in the feed below, or Sanita, if you can drop it on how they can find out more information. Actually, you can check on the website at www.attrinc.org. And I would definitely let you know. I have tickets, so if you would like to purchase a ticket from me, let me know. But I'm so passionate, and this organization is doing some powerful, amazing work here in the community. So At the Table is the sponsor for this half a part of the podcast, What's Next podcast. So, and here we're going to do a little fun. Now we're going to do some fun things. So with that being said, one thing I do believe in empowering our listeners and viewers is doing some reading. I always believe in reading. So are you reading any books? And if so, what are you reading besides the one we're reading with the group?
Gosh, I'm reading about 10
Oh,
books.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. Oh, thank you. I'm not the only one. Me too. Me too.
Yeah, I never used to be like that. I was always one book at a time, and now it's like I have a book going here and a book going here and a book.
Me too.
Um, yeah, gosh. So let me think about a list that I'm working on. I am rereading Wild.
Oh, I read that.
Yeah, it's so good.
Oh,
It's so comforting. That's my like
yeah.
falling asleep book.
Yes, I loved it. I listened to it too. I listen to Audible. Reading is not. I don't read the paper book. I do the Audible. I listened to the book in 2 days. 2 days. That's how good it. Yeah, I was so into it. I loved it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm reading that because I need to have a little just for fun reading.
I understand. You don't have to explain it.
Yeah. So I have that. I just started braiding sweetgrass.
Okay.
So that is a novel about Indigenous people in our country and about kind of some of the storytelling. And that
Yes. Okay.
started it. So I'm not super far in, but so far I really like it.
Okay.
Um, let's see. I have the business book going that we talked about. That's six habits of
So, high performers.
performers. Yeah. So I have that one going. I'm working through Me and White Supremacy.
How's that?
It's good. It's eye opening. It's
Is
powerful.
it? Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys, I thought I'm all I have to do is thank goodness I'm not the only one that has 10 books going on because I do. And funny enough, before I came on here, I'm like, oh, well, let me check to see how many books I have in my Audible library. I have over 50. Over 50.
Those are all ones you have to read still?
No, I did read. You know what? You'd be proud of me. I did read some. I did. I did read some of them, so I'm proud of myself. But what I'm currently reading is the Compound Effect. Is talking about how to become a professional and working in the professional arena, which I was that was recommended to me, and now I'm reading it. Reading it. Then Uncloned. Uncloned is all about marketing. It is
Oh,
I'm following the author. She actually has a powerful Facebook group, but she teaches you how to unclone your marketing, unclone your marketing brand like no other, and keep being consistent with it.
wow. That sounds really helpful, actually.
Yeah, yeah. So I've been reading her. I've been reading her book, and actually I do the Audible, and I have the paperback. So I have that, and I'm at the end of Damon John's book, Power Shift, which is really good, real good. So those are my three for right now. I have more that are going, and plus our business book, I still got that going too. So absolutely,
Yeah,
I
it's like different categories, right? Like
yeah, exactly,
one when I want to relax and enjoy the afternoon. This is when
absolutely.
I'm trying to fall asleep. This is when I want to dive into this kind of work.
Absolutely. So true. What is something fun you like to do?
Um, Gosh, back in the before times when we could do fun things. Um, let's see what I would be doing. I think a lot more of. I started last fall taking pottery classes.
Ooh.
Um,
Oh my
and
goodness. Is that cool to do? I don't have the I'm not artsy. So I think I admire people like you doing it. It's just I'm not artsy like that.
and that's what I loved about it. Like I'm not like I'm a terrible painter and all that kind of
Me
stuff.
too.
About being able to mold the clay that doesn't have to be quite as like artsy. And you
Yes.
have to decorate it, and that gets a little bit more artsy. But it was really fun. I think it was really fun because I was bad at it and I was a beginner.
Oh,
And it's so fun to not have to be an expert,
yes.
able to just like play around with it and kind of get my hands dirty and
Oh my goodness. Oh, I'll have to try. Again, I'm not arts and crafty like that. So I would just probably get frustrated and be like, okay, well, that was my stress reliever for the day. And I'm just going to leave it leave it
work
here.
stress. Yeah. So I liked doing that. I love a good hike.
Oh,
I did a lot of that, especially this summer when it was, there's not much else that we could be doing.
yeah, there sure isn't. It sure isn't. You're right. Well, that's cool. Let's see here. We have some comments. Let me address them right now.
Sure.
Sanita said, oh, she did drop in at the tables website. She did also talk about the At the Table third annual Women's Empowerment virtual event is taking place October the 24th. It is here online. And Andrea says, I like that back in the before times, right? So
Oh,
true. And, it is odd to hear us saying before time, and that was just what back in beginning of the year, and now we don't even know what the norm is ever going to be. Whatever the norm's going to be, we don't even know what it is. So this is really something else. So with that being said, we're almost to the end of our show. This has been fun. I want to first thank you for joining me. Let's take a break here, and if anybody would like to get in contact with you, again, can you tell them how they can get in contact with you and where they can find you?
yeah. So if you want to follow along, I drop a lot of the just kind of daily tips, like a little reminder to, hey, check in with yourself, take a break, those kind of things on my Instagram. My handle is Anne Brady, LISWS. And if you want more information on how to get in contact with me, if you want to work with me for therapy, or if you want to check out workshops or really just learn more about kind of the work that I do, you can check out my website. It's AnneBradyLISWS.com.
Absolutely. And so with everybody, if you're looking where you're wanting to do some, just do some vision board work, or creating a vision plan, or even creating a strategy plan, I am more than welcome to do that. That is something that I do. If you would like to be in contact with me, I am actually having a 30-minute consultation, where just drop it in the feed and say, Pam, let's chat. And I will send you a link to my calendar, and we will sit down and we will talk about how to get you moving on to your 2021 goals. And what way to do it is create you a vision plan. And do not think you're too late, because you're not. You still have time. I promise you. I have people say I'm too late. No, you're never too late. It's never too late until you don't do it. So if you're needing help on creating that type of plan, I'm here for you. Or even if you want to talk about it before you even set down the plan, I'm definitely here for you. We can sit down and do a 30-minute chat with me, and I'll send you the link to my calendar. Sunita said, thank you for sharing this information about leaving the corporate world. It's needed. It's especially nowadays, there's so many people that are losing their jobs, sadly, because of COVID. And so what way to prepare everybody? Again, I'm here to empower everybody to go after whatever they want to do. And I'm bringing powerhouses to the table to help, because I definitely don't know everything, but the thousands of women around me, everybody knows somebody knows something to help. So if you're needing help, or if you wanted to connect, please drop it in the feed. And please do not sit back and say, well, what I have to say it doesn't make sense, or don't be embarrassed, because you're cheating. Actually, you're cheating the world of your talents and your dreams and your passions, because of that type of negativity. Andrea says, thank you, Anne. Andrea said, thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. And so as we're getting ready to shut down this amazing broadcast, what is one thing you would like to leave the listeners and our followers?
Gosh, first I do want to take a second just to thank you, Pamela, for having me on. This has been fun, and I'm so excited to, hear what people are taking away from it and what people are working on. And so I love that we were able to hear a little bit of that as we went. The one thing that, how do you boil it all down? I think the one thing to just take away is kind of where we started, is that self-care, like, you deserve it, and it doesn't have to be fancy or expensive or luxury. It really is just, how do you treat yourself with care?
Yeah, so true.
That into all the decisions you make, from what you wear to what you eat to how you move to who you're around and what you consume in terms of media and food and all of it. All of those are ways that you can create some self-care with a decision you already have to make.
Absolutely.
Right? It doesn't have to add a bunch of time to the end of the day, or it doesn't have to add a bunch of money to your budget. It really can be done simply and with very few resources. So.
I agree. I so agree with you. I'm glad that you do have to get into the mindset, and it's all about mind shifting to start thinking about that. And this is another reason why I want Anne to come on, so she can emphasize those types of those important components of how they play in our lives. Because let's be honest, it's a part of our life one way or another, and it has to be there permanently because of what we're going through. So what way to do it is to bring some experts on how you can maneuver through all of the chaos and chaoticness through, and work on some of our self-care and our wellness. So I do love that. Real quick, Anne, before I go out, what is something funny you would like for everybody to know about you, or fun that you've done before?
Oh, something funny. I thought about this. I just shared this with someone the other day that I hadn't thought about in a while, because it was about a year ago, but it was really pretty funny. So we were traveling actually in Iceland, and we were seeing a geyser. And there's like little roped off things where you have to stay behind the line so you don't get sprayed because it's boiling hot. And there's this great, so I was standing kind of up front, and my husband was behind me, and he was taking pictures. And you can see this great series of photos where, like, I'm watching, and then I look up because the geyser goes off, but then a huge gust of wind came.
Oh my goodness.
See me going like this because I got drenched. And then there's this other picture. So just those pictures, you can flip through them like a flip book,
Yes.
right? Like watching, and I'm so excited, and then I'm ducking, and then I'm just and so that series I think is one that is pretty fun, pretty unique to have documented.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I have to say my funniest or yeah, my funniest is my daughter used to do competition cheerleading.
Okay.
Okay, you know how you see on the TV, I don't know. I used to see it on TLC where they have where the girls were cheerleading, competing competition cheerleading.
Mhm.
Well, my daughter did that and so her team our club, our cheerleading club had decided, oh, well, let's have a parent team cheer. So of course, I'm like, okay, well, what the heck? I'll do it. So
Yeah.
there was like, I think there was 12 or more of us. So sorry if there's still some out there listening, 12 or more of us over 40 competing to cheer with other groups 40 and over. And so let me say this, we were doing flips, splits,
What?
real, yeah, all of it. It was amazing. So I, yeah, it was funny, but that was the best. So if anyone ever says over 40 can't do it, I can say that's a lie, and I did it. So yeah.
Video evidence of this? I would love to see it.
Oh no, I'm not going to show that, so no one can blackmail me. No, 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 no. Well, Anne, I want to thank you. You have been an amazing guest. I would love to have you back on the show. This was fun. Time went by super fast, like
Yeah,
so fast. It's
yeah,
crazy.
absolutely.
But I will drop it in the feed if anybody would like to get connected to Andrea. But as I always end to the show, you guys, if no one has not told you today, you guys rock and you're amazing.
Yes.
And you live the intentional life that you want to live because guess what? This is your life and nobody else. Until next week, you guys rock. You're amazing. And thank you for taking the time out of your day to even sit here and listen to us. And I hope you got some golden nuggets out of our talk. Until next time, everyone. Bye and thank you.
So much.